There are two types of gunshot residue, Jason. There's one that comes out the front of the barrel when the gun is fired. That helps us determine the distance that a shooter was from the target. The second one comes from the primer. When it's discharged, it's expelled from the rear of the firearm.
Where on your body would I be able to find gunshot residue right now?
Maybe on the back of my hand, the webbing in between my fingers, inside of my hand, as well as the clothing that I'm wearing right now.
So Leonard, if a person has gunshot residue, does that prove they fired the gun?
It doesn't conclusively say that a person fired a gun. It says that a person fired the gun, was in close proximity, or was in an environment where they were exposed to that primer gunshot residue.
So let me flip it the other way. So if a person has no gunshot residue, can you say with certainty that that person did not fire the gun?
No, we can't say with any certainty. Primer gunshot residue can be washed off, wiped off. Because of those issues, we cannot specifically say conclusively that the person did not fire the gun.
So what that means is there's no gunshot residue on a person doesn't necessarily prove that they were not a shooter. Is that really accurate? Because that's an amazing revelation to me.
That's true, Jason.
Well, joining us in the audience is Leonard Romero. So, Leonard, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Let me ask you this. Talk about what stippling is on a victim, what you can tell about the distance between the shooter and the victim based on powder burns.
Yes, sir. Stippling is burnt and unburnt gunpowder that's embedded into the skin of a victim. If the shooter is significantly close to the victim, then that burnt, unburnt gunpowder coming from the front part of the weapon, the muzzle part, will be embedded into the skin. But they have to be at a fairly close distance for that to happen.
So if there's no stippling at all on the victim, your first conclusion would be that it would be a longer range as opposed to being right up next to them.
Yes, sir. It would be at a greater distance than it would deposit it, yes.
Okay. And he had a gunshot across his third and fourth knuckle, right?
He did.
Okay. So that gunshot, your theory is he shot himself while he was shooting the deputy.
That's correct.
And your position is one of the shots at the deputy came through and hit his hand.
Correct. If I can interject on that point.
Please.
All right. Again, Rob Will has told multiple different versions of what happened. All right.
If I can interrupt on that,
Yes, you can.
Rob Will has maintained steadfastly his innocence from the beginning. You are nitpicking on a fact here, a fact here.
Well, no, but I'm not nitpicking, Sammy. I'm going based upon what his attorneys testified to in federal court, which is he could not tell a straight story on the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, his attorneys are testifying regarding information, one, that you should not have. Right?
Well, but if you raise an ineffective assistance claim, it's open.
Right.
It's open in federal court. You know that.
That was not the ineffective assistance claim. The discrete ineffective assistance claim was whether or not the trial lawyers were ineffective for not calling certain witnesses.
Right.
That was the claim, and you've exploited that successfully over the years.
Exploit is a little strong, but okay.
And by
we do like one another, by the way.
By looking and reviewing privileged information, and what I'd like to do, since you've gotten access to our files,
sure.
Will you open your files?
Come on,
including
tomorrow.
All the notes of the interviews of the witnesses that took place, including Deputy Strickland.
Sammy, you've had an open record file.
No. We have not.
You and I have looked at evidence. I've gotten evidence out of the storage room for you. If you want to come into my office on Wednesday and do a file review, come on.
But no attorney work product.
Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to review the attorney work product.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.